When I saw my father taken away between two police officers, to take a man who was respectable. I loved my father so much. Honest, hardworking, and knew the Canadian ways. And then here is a man being whisked away without any questions. I was afraid. I was supposed to be respectful. I was supposed to understand this is the Canadian way where we are allowed to be questioned. And then at that moment, I could see my mother crying, wondering, and then my stomach was so upside down. I was anxious, frightened. I couldn't say I was angry. There was no room for me to be angry. I didn't have time to be angry because what behind me, after that, I did not go to UBC. I had a job at home to do. I had to find my father. So university for me ended.
At that time, there were a few students that were really anti-Japanese, you know. One day they were good friends, you could talk to them. Next day, a whole different ball game. That sort of hurt for a while, and I didn't really understand it, you know. So anyways, that's when I started to grow up fast, I guess. You know, learning how people can have prejudice.
We were quite set, personally I was quite set, I think all of us were quite set on going to war on behalf of Canada, because this was our country. And all of a sudden, we're told we're kicked out. And it was a shock.
While I was at the university, we talked about what's going on, this and that, and they said, well, we were there, I think a notice came that there's no more school. I think it's February 25 or something like that. No more school. Anyone of Japanese descent, right, cannot go to school.
I was very disappointed in having to leave the soccer team. I love soccer, you know. It's such a wonderful feeling. You have classes all day, and a nice fall day. You go out in the field. Yeah, that was, you know, you have a bond with the fellow soccer players, you know, you play soccer. They're very good friends of mine. And to leave my teammates, and I was captain of the soccer team, and that it was a big disappointment.
I felt that an injustice was done to the Canadian UBC students. I felt that somebody had to speak for them, and I heard no other voices. And so I started this quest to get them honorary degrees. The first letter I wrote was April the 22nd, 2008, to the president of UBC, Stephen Tuke. It's taken 3 years. It was not an easy job.
It took some time to decide what the right approach was. Rather than simply using a symbolic gesture, which is important, we also wanted to try to create some programming and create curriculum that would, for the future, keep this question alive so that the memory of what happened is not lost, and so that there's really a continuing honoring of the students who were interned at that time.
You know what? The whole event was priceless. I mean, it's just so emotional, and I was so happy for those people who waited this long to become a graduate, and they were so happy themselves. I mean, it's hard to explain it, because I was just very moved by it. So I'm so glad that I was here to witness it. I think their story is one of perseverance, similar to what we went through Redress, and I think it came full circle again today, where people have waited so long and finally they achieved that, achieving their goal, which is to graduate. So I don't know, it's a circle of life actually in some ways, yeah. Events such as this are so important because they bring out the past, and I think very often too many young people don't know what happened. And even today when I was talking to one of the people receiving a degree on behalf of a parent or a relative, said they didn't even know that he went to university. So they didn't know the story of what likely had happened to them. And I think it's an event like this will bring it out.
I feel like I did a really good job not breaking down in tears, that the emotion was overwhelming. I feel a little bit, it's a bittersweet a moment where we've done something right, but that we lost a lot of opportunities to grant degrees to people had we done this years earlier. So yeah, a little bit bittersweet.
You know, after, 70 years, I don't know if it was just me, but I was welling up, right? And it was because you feel that overwhelming sense of, pride as well as sort of like just hope, like the world's getting better, the things are going to get better. And I think, I always cry when there's hope, and I think seeing that really filled my heart with that hope, right? So definitely powerful.
Wow. I don't know how I felt. I just hoped I wouldn't trip.
Look at the emotional experience that everybody's going through right now. This isn't just something, one in 1,000 years, and you guys better remember that and keep going. Otherwise, it's going to go for nothing.
Honored and relieved.
Did you get emotional at all?
Yes, it's been a long time.
It's been a long journey of 70 years, but I'm glad you're here. Welcome home.